This thing is pretty easy to set up even just by myself. So each corner has these little loops and you just slide the stakes through it and push that right into the ground. And to be honest with you, it pulls really, really tight. I know I already said this, but it measures 10 by 9. And yes, they say 7 adults can use this thing at once. You know what's cool? They have these little corners, these little pockets here. You can put your cell phone, your keys, your book, and we're going to talk about what else later. But it's a pretty good size. I'm really looking forward to see how the sand reacts to this blanket because, well, that's the reason I purchased it in the first place. So after fooling with this blanket for a little while, I want to show you a few things. So it's not the type of blanket where this sand is going to go through the blanket. It's the kind where if you just take it and you shake it a little bit, you can easily get the sand off the blanket. Let me show you. And just like that, the sand is off. Now, I had a little bit of difficulty because it's still staked in, but they say you can just unstake it and the sand can just be brushed off pretty easily. Therefore, no more messing with that nasty sand when you're at the beach. Here is just another view of the sand coming off. I actually took this stake off, but you can just shake it, and as long as no one's on the other side, the sand just goes away. A real quick pro tip for you, if I just take out 2 stakes, one on each corner here, and I just pick up, I can either shake it or I can just hold it high, and the sand honestly will just slide down the blanket like it's on a slide and go down to the one end. Now that end is still staked in, so it doesn't come off necessarily that way. We can get to that in a minute, but you notice how it just cleared it right off the entire blanket except for that one end, and it's pretty good. As you get the sand down to this end, you just pick up the blanket and watch. The sand just falls off as it should. Now the blanket is perfectly clean. Another claim to fame by the manufacturer is the ability for this material to resist water, or I guess wick the water on there. So look, let's see what happened. We just poured some water. You can see how it puddles, but that's probably typical. But watch, let's see what happens when we pick up the blanket. Now I do have the stakes in there, so it might be more difficult. It is cool how it just brushes off, and today it's about 80 degrees, but like I said earlier, it's overcast, so I bet this thing would dry pretty fast, but the water definitely beads up on here. So this is the second day that I've been using this Wekapo blanket, and I've already forgotten the tent stakes or the stakes to stake it down. But you know what else you can do? Remember how I told you about those little corners? You can actually fill them with sand, and they actually make like a little sandbag or a weighted corner. And I happen to do this one here on the inside, but if you don't like that and you didn't like the sand there, you can actually turn it inside out and scoop up some sand and make a sandbag that way. But I thought that was pretty cool.